Hey, good evening. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. You know, there are some subjects that they're dead but they won't lie down. So I thought I would make a few responses to these endlessly live and then dead subjects. And the first one, the first one that keeps coming up, well, I should have one which I haven't put in there. First one that keeps coming up is Nisa. And Nisa was someone who she apparently had a fall, and it resulted in a spinal injury, and the vertebrae 11 and 12 had all but collapsed, but it turned out that it was actually tuberculosis. So she had TB, which had been left untended, and it had gone into the bones. So then you got this calcification where calcium built up around this injury, and eventually we showed a photograph which went onto Facebook, and the thing was like this. This is what was jutting out of her back. Well, we took her, we spent a great deal of money. She was a very popular cause, and unfortunately, right on the night before, believe it or not, the night before she was supposed to go for the operation, we called and said, don't forget, tomorrow is your big day. We're going to Cebu and we're going to get you the treatment that you need. And she was supposed to have gone in and had an operation. And when we made that confirmation call, she said, I've changed my mind, I'm not going to do it. Then followed a family meeting. It seems like we've had quite a few of those. Family meeting, and the pastor to the church that she was involved with then had advised her not to do it. An aunt had advised her that God had already cured her, and that it was nonsense to suggest that vertebrae 11 and 12 had gone. That was the language that the surgeon, we took her to a top hospital. Because it was the spine, we felt that it needed to be dealt with at the highest level. And we were very inexperienced then. Anyway, we took her there, and then when she decided that she wasn't going to do it, there was something about the way she did it that upset some people, mainly the people that had given us money in order to help her to get the surgery. Well, we'd monitored that money. We had held that money in trust so that she would be cured. And when she said, I'm not going to do it, and during the course of the family discussion, her uncle had criticized her. I think that this is, as far as I remember, this is how it went. But at one point, she was heard to say, I never asked them to help me. They came to me. I never asked for their help. And so the people that had given said, we would prefer that you use this money for more worthy causes who are more grateful. And there was only one person who said they wanted their money back, but they had been an early contributor, and the money that they had, it was an Australian, and the sum was, I think, 1,000 Australian dollars, had long been used, even though she said, well, or he or she, never worked out whether it was a he or she, said, I gave that for medical, not for anything else, not for building a house, not for which we had done. And so we said, well, sorry, but it's already been spent. And the other money was moved on to other projects. So, how is she doing now? As far as we know, I've seen her on Facebook and she looks wonderful. She was always a very pretty lady, and she seems to be okay, even though when we went, I was the one that went into the surgeon's office when he discussed what was going on. And I asked him what will happen if, I asked the surgeon, I didn't invent this, what will happen if she doesn't have the surgery? and he said she will. He said 11 and 12 are those vertebrae are gone, meaning that as far as fulfilling their function, they were no longer any good, and they'd broken down. So he said she will gradually get further and further and further over until it restricts her breathing so much that she will not be able to do so, and she'll die. That was what he said, and he was one of the top surgeons at Chonghua Hospital. So we don't know how she's actually doing now, whether she's in pain. She made it clear that she didn't want to have our help, and so we bowed out. Alan the Canadian, Alan the Canadian was the fast-talking. He was the fast-talking. Was he Canadian? There was a big bone of contention. Anybody that was Canadian said, he's not Canadian. Listen to him. He's from the Far East, or the Near East, or the Left East. Anyway, what happened with him? We got the money from three. We had 3 gifts. 2 of the gifts were early from, if I remember rightly, they were from fellow Canadians, and they sent the money so that he could go to Manila, and he went to Manila on a much publicized trip to the Canadian embassy, and then he came back, and then a very staunch supporter of ours and a mentor and a friend paid for his way back, and also helped to support his girlfriend. The main emphasis of that supporter was a little bit rich. He wanted to make sure that the girlfriend and the child, there was a small delightful child, a little girl, and Little Bit Rich wanted to make sure that she would be reunited with her family and the little girl will be taken care of. And all of those things all fell into place. Alan, the Canadian, is back home in Canada, and as far as we know, he is actually managing to support his girlfriend. Case closed. Okay. Cooking me healthy food. Well, this has been something of a rocket ride, because the video where Beth, and she is responsible mainly for doing the titles, unless I have a title that I particularly want to go up, and even then it has her particular way of doing things attached to it, and I don't criticize those, certainly not in public anyway, because look what she has achieved. So the criticism was that I should be cooked healthy food. Well, I am cooked healthy food. Plus, because we are out on the road so much, we go out to administer our health, our help, our mission. We don't sit at home giving audience to people who walk up the 2 miles to our house. That we don't do that. We actually get out there and meet people and see conditions and make videos. That's what we do. So I eat plenty of healthy food. I am my age. I do not take any medication. No medication, okay? If anything, I should go to the doctor right now because I have a bit of a cold. I don't take anything for headaches. I don't take anything for any lumbosis or cure or anything like that. If I were to do anything, it would be a natural, herbal, something that had no side effects. In other words, a non-drug. I don't smoke. I don't drink. You know, very occasionally I might have a beer and struggle to finish one beer because I'm just not used to it. And most of my life I've done this. So that's on that, and the video where I was supposedly, for those who had no sense of humor, I was being forced to have those little black evil looking shellfish forced down my throat. It didn't happen. I said straight away, I'm not eating that because it looks like it came out of somebody's nose. So I didn't eat it, and it was a fun video. It was fun. It was to make you laugh. There are two things that we video. When we video, if it's the real thing, if it is real life, then it's videos as real life. I narrate what is happening, I tell you what is happening, or Beth will tell you what is happening. Sometimes I'm on the camera, and sometimes Beth is on the camera, and sometimes even Talatlik is on the camera, as you may have noticed. So that's the way that we work it. Okay, so it's not a case of anybody forcing anybody to do anything. We film real life incidents in a real life way, just the way it happens. We don't have fancy music, we don't have fancy editing. We usually manage to post anything up to 8 or 10 videos a day, and we do that by keeping the videos simple and just plain simple, and relatively easily edited and uploaded.